chill spot.
Ow. Ow. Ow.
What if you did a whole episode that was just sound effects?
Boo. Do you mean the Seinfeld theme song?
Bum, 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 bow. They should have just let me do the Seinfeld theme song.
I know.
Imagine
Seinfeld's like, hey, George, do you want to go to dinner? George is like, yeah, let's go to dinner. And then it's like intercutting to like a shot of the restaurant, like the restaurant.
Yeah.
And it's just you going, ba-da-da-dow! Ba-ba-da-dow! Go, like, if you're currently subscribed to a streaming service that has Seinfeld on it, I strongly encourage you to play it on mute during like an intro to a scene in Seinfeld and play Cam's audio over that.
Can we get someone to splice that video together for us?
Oh my god.
Just put it together.
Go, like,
That being said, how are you two today? How are you two?
At a minute or two to two today, at a minute or two to two.
I have a lovely bunch of coconuts.
Red leather, yellow leather.
That's another thing we should do.
Leather, yellow leather.
Next episode of the Chill Spot podcast is all going to be sound effects and articulation exercises.
Just vocal warm-ups, yeah.
Ba, 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 ba,
one, two.
What's one thing, before we get into like actually what we're going to talk about today, what's one thing that like as an actor, and like especially you having just finished your numerous theater productions, what's one acting thing that you see other actors doing that you just think is 100% bullshit?
That I think is 100% bullshit. That's hard because like past Sam would have said like all physical theater exercises.
Yeah, but we're past that. We're a little more grown now.
I will say though, I did have someone once show me what they did to physically get into the character of a severely addicted like heroin addict, and I just thought it was unnecessary. It was like she was like jerking around on all fours and while like retching, like pretending to like retch and like have a withdrawal symptom, and I was like, that's not.
Come on.
I don't think you got to do all that.
You know we're playing pretend right now.
Yeah,
right? We're getting paid money.
Yeah,
to play pretend.
I don't think that's necessary. I think that any sort of uncomfortable, extraneous physical length that you go to is unnecessary.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, didn't Jared Leto like starve himself for Dallas Buyers Club or something like that?
Something like that.
Or Christian Bale did something like that for a role.
Christian Bale was like the king of getting real fat and then getting real skinny. And then getting real fat and getting real skinny.
That's not healthy.
Well, he's since actually, and I think in like 2019 actually came out and was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah, because it's so bad for you.
Because my doctor was like, Christian, please, your bones and all of your organs. Like, think about your body.
Yeah, just stop. Yeah.
Jesus, Mr. Bale.
So yeah, I'll let that be my answer. Any sort of extensive physical length that you go to like get into the role or get into the body of the character. I always think of that what's that actor? It's Lawrence. It's not Lawrence of Arabia.
Lawrence Fishburne?
No. Who is that actor in Lawrence of Arabia? That like incredible actor.
I've never seen Lawrence of Arabia.
Or was it 10 Commandments? Some actor was talking to Dennis Hoffman and was like,
first of all, Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman.
Did you just say Dennis Hoffman?
Yeah, famous actor Dennis Hoffman.
I think you're thinking of Laurence Olivier.
Laurence Olivier. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah,
Dennis Hoffman. I fucking love Dennis Hoffman.
I don't like Dustin is so much better. It's not like he had a beautiful name like Chadwick or something like that, and I fucked it up and called him Bob.
No, it's true. Dustin and Dennis are both pretty podunky names.
Hello.
It's just funny. I just think it's funny. Fucking Dennis Hoffman.
But no. Dustin Hoffman was talking about some like extreme length he was going to go to get into character, and Laurence Olivier was like, or you could just act.
Just act, dude.
And whenever someone talks about like gaining a lot of weight or losing an absurd amount of weight and like to like an unhealthy point, I always think, or you could just act.
Yeah, you know, you
could just act.
And you know, and there's actors out there, better actors who have just done the thing and acted, and it's
Yeah.
just as good.
I also
you
think,
know?
a lot of the times we have to meet people where they're at body-wise. To a certain extent, I understand you're playing a specific person. Like, I think it was Christian Bale who gained a lot of weight for Dick Cheney when he played Dick Cheney in a movie. And, like, he literally gained all that weight. It wasn't a fat suit. And to that, I kind of understand because that's literally what he looks like. I mean, there are bodysuits that you can put on, and it's bodysuits have come so far in the movie industry. They're so well made now that you could really get away with it, and it really wouldn't look that bad. But I just think that a lot of the times when it comes to fictional characters, just meet the actor where they're at with their body.
Totally. Yeah.
If the actor weighs 180 when you give them the job before shooting, then guess what? The character weighs 180 pounds. Don't make them lose weight because you have an image in your mind of what the character looks like. Just meet them where they're at.
Well, I feel
necessary.
I feel like a lot of filmmakers are willing to do that, and it's oftentimes, I think, when it comes
changing
to the dramatic shift in an actor's body, I think is usually up to the actor's bodily autonomy.
Yeah,
you know, like Christian Bale is quote unquote dedicated to these roles, so he does these extreme things.
Yeah,
in my opinion, I think that's a little silly. You know, so much of film and entertainment production is doing things the easiest way possible.
Yeah,
and I don't necessarily see why you need to destroy or harm yourself in order to get an effect. You know, like that would be my answer to dumb actor bullshit is suffering.
Yeah.
Like you understand that there are so many movies and shows and theater productions that get made where no one suffers, right?
Yeah, it's
and
very
like,
possible.
And like, I know you think like, oh, but like fucking Leonardo DiCaprio like ate real intestines and like lived in like the fucking wilderness for The Revenant. Yeah. And like, okay, sure, admirable, like I guess.
Or you could just act.
Yeah, but this heart that he ate like could have been like a Jell-O heart that tasted like strawberry, and it would have had the exact same effect. The fact that it was real is just
it doesn't affect me.
It just affected.
I'm not there.
It only affected Leo.
Yeah. I'm not there. And if you can't act like you're eating a real heart with a Jell-O heart, then that's a you problem. Yeah. I'm sorry.
So like, ridiculous in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, like, how I am so baffled by all of these lengths that these studios will go to give actors like as real of a thing as possible. Like like you're being obtuse by saying that he ate a real heart or whatever. But
no, that's real. He ate like raw intestines in The Revenant.
But did he eat a heart?
I don't know if he had a heart,
okay.
but like
because like intestines, like that's a thing, you know, like it's not a Western thing, but like intestines are a part of many a cuisine around the world, and I'm not gonna be like, ew, no fucking way, because like it's a very normal thing to eat,
like raw bison intestines or whatever.
Okay,
like you know that scene in The Revenant, when he crawls up and he's all fucked up and like starving, and that man.
I mean that's the whole movie, but yes, I do remember him eating
really
out of a. Do
you remember that landscape shot? There was only one of them.
Remember that landscape shot that was really beautiful that had Leonardo DiCaprio suffering in it? Do you mean the movie?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, Tom Hardy was in that.
No idea. But the lengths that studios will go to be like, we actually got like a real, like, okay, so there was that guitar in The Hateful Eight, that like really rare guitar.
Oh yeah.
That what's his face, Kurt Russell, like smashed or whatever.
And it wasn't swapped out for the prop guitar.
Yeah.
Which looked identical.
To which I say, why was the real guitar there in the first place?
Yeah.
Way did you need it there?
What kind of is that like in the pursuit of dedication to naturalism or
why
something?
Was it
like,
anywhere
I don't understand.
Near the set? What? I don't know that it's a fucking rare guitar. I didn't know there was such a thing as a rare guitar. I mean, like, I do. Obviously, I do.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
But like, it wasn't.
If they had used
it doesn't matter to me as the person who is watching this, the person you're making the movie for, that the real rare guitar is there. Just give them an old guitar.
Well, yeah, what's the difference?
Just like take the varnish off a Yamaha from Walmart and just like rough it up, get some dirt on it, and just like
you know what's really funny about that story, and then we'll get into the episode, but like So, as you know, the woman whose actress name I forget, but the woman who's with Kurt Russell's character, she actually breaks character in that scene.
Yeah, because she knows.
And she's like, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah.
Because it's like,
I think she like screams when he smashes
because she's like, "No!"
But
like,
apparently it wasn't like her character screaming. It was like, "Oh my fucking god, that's the real guitar screaming."
And then there's actually a part in the same scene where she like looks this way.
Yeah.
Luckily, it's kind of wide-eyed and frantic, and that's her whole character, so it doesn't come off as like out of character. But she was literally like looking for a producer to be like, "Are we gonna stop?"
Yeah.
And Quentin was just like,
"Yeah, just keep
it rolling."
Which is it makes for a funny story. But it's like, why was it there?
Yeah.
Why was the expensive one of a kind guitar sitting there in the first place?
But you know what's funny? Funny in quotation marks is that I think the museum or whoever that had that guitar was already pretty apprehensive as to giving it out. They were like, "Oh, we want to give it out. You know, like it's very old, it's very valuable." And then Quentin Tarantino destroyed it. And apparently they're like, "Hard no, we're never giving out anything for films ever again."
Of course.
Right?
100%. I would say the exact same thing. I would say the exact same thing because everybody knows that story, right? And I'm sure everybody in Hollywood knows that story. So like you go to whatever archives or museum and they're like, "Hard no," your only response should be, "I understand.
I'm sorry, I understand. I didn't even mean to bother you. Listen, I'm going to go now." I completely
understand. Because renting out pieces like that from like museums or just like rare collections, like they're very special about these things.
I just can't help but feel like all of the pursuit of authenticity, like getting that, like it's the old guitar. Like I just can't help but feel like that's like just self-serving. Right?
It is. It's to say, if anything, it's a flex.
Yeah.
To say that I got the special guitar and the museum really didn't want to give it to me, but because I'm Quentin Tarantino and that's Kurt Russell in my film and he's going to be touching it. You get the ability to say that this guitar was in a Quentin Tarantino movie on top of everything that it already is, and that means so much because I'm Quentin Tarantino.
Right.
And to which I say, not good enough.
Like whatever, dog.
Not good enough anymore, mate. Maybe in a pre-pandemic era, but this like post-pandemic, like not as into celebrity culture as I am anymore. It's not good enough, you know? Just, oh, you're a name. Great. Yeah. This guitar already means a lot, so I'm gonna keep it in pristine condition.
Well, it'd be like, "Hey, I want to get the real Mona Lisa for this scene that I'm doing. Oh, but the character punches a hole through it, and then but don't worry, we have replicas that we're gonna use for the punch scene.
Should have always had replicas.
But then my whole thing is that,
what are you doing with the real
why not
Mona
just
Lisa?
use the replicas? Like, is there anyone who was watching The Hateful Eight going, "You know, that's the real Gibson, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I know. You want to know how I noticed? Because the string," like, no one does.
Or they do, but like the moment passes so fleetingly. You do all of this work to get all of this realism into your film for like a handful of people to say, "You know, that was the real la 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 la." For a fun fact.
Ooh, yeah, really.
For a fun fact.
For a TikTok.
Not worth it.
For an Instagram reel.
Not worth it. Just act. I beg you to beg your actors to just act.
This is
please,
true.
Please.
Please just act.
Yeah.
You heard it here on Showspot first, folks. Just act.
Just act.
Please, God.
Please, God.
What are we talking about today?
I wanted to talk about what I want to talk about how we decipher the meaning of the art that we consume.
Right.
Because I just finished a bunch of shows.
That's right.
And I am in a retrospective period. And, you know, like, it's funny because, you know, I do a show and then I always go out and I say hi to anybody who, like, came out and saw it. And I always, you know, I talk to them, like, "So what did you think about this part? What did you think about this part? Blah, blah,
did you
blah."
like me?
Yeah. Or they'll offer that information freely because they're kind enough to do so. And sometimes I don't always like the answer. And sometimes I have to check myself a little bit because I have to remind myself that art means different things to different people and elicits different reactions. So I wanted to talk about how we find the meaning of the things that we consume and whether or not that matters.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I think, that makes sense. You brought up an interesting point just now before we get into what we've written on what you just said. I think that there's so much of, like, being an artist that when you ask people what they think of the thing that you were a part of or what you made, I think that there's almost anyone deep down, like a lot of people are good at throwing this away, and it's important, and you have to do it as an artist. But a lot of people deep down think like, they're not asking you what you think. They're asking you to tell me what I think, right?
Yeah.
You want to hear your opinion coming out of their mouths.
Yeah.
And I just think that's interesting.
It's
I
also,
think a lot of people do that, actually.
It's also a recurring nightmare of mine where I'm like at an art gallery and I'm looking at a painting and somebody comes up to me and goes, "What do you think of this painting?" And I tell them and they go, "That's all wrong. That's completely incorrect. You're bad at this. You're bad at deciphering art." And I go, "Oh, well, who are you to tell me?" And they go, "I'm the artist." It's my worst nightmare. It's my worst nightmare of being told by the artist that I misinterpreted their art. And I've wondered for a long time whether or not that comment holds water. Whether someone has the right to really go up to you and say, "Nah, you misunderstood my art. It's about this. And you thought it was about this, so you're a dumb, stupid idiot."
Well, okay. I think that if you're going to that lengths to talk about anybody, you're probably an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, whether or not you're talking about the fucking, the fresh pie you just made or the beautiful painting you just made. Like, if you, "Oh, what is this, blueberry?" Actually, it's blackberry, you fucking cunt. Like,
You don't know shit about shit.
Idiot.
Dumbass.
God, yeah.
My worst fear.
I don't use granulated sugar. Asshole. You know, like that. Yeah, I think you're an asshole no matter what if you do that. But to really like answer what you just posed, I think that as an artist, you're allowed to have meaning that you've derived from the creation process. And like, obviously, any artist worth their salt makes use of themes when they do something, right? Like,
it's the whole point, yeah.
Ideally, you work with a theme. That's how this works.
Yeah.
So if someone was to derive another theme from it, like you could do the thing where you get way up your butt and get offended, or you could go, "Well, my art invoked that and that person."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Unfortunately, there are a lot of mean people out there who love to poo-poo that exact reaction that you just described.
Right.
So someone will say like, I have this connection to the color red. So when I saw the color red in, Schindler's List, it made me feel this feeling.
Isn't Schindler's List all black and white?
Yeah. But isn't there like one scene where like a girl is holding like a red balloon or something?
I don't know, actually. I mean, like, I believe you.
Admittedly, I have seen only part of Schindler's List and then been told the rest because it's such an iconic movie.
Right, so referential.
Yeah, but I believe there is one part in Schindler's List where there's like a dash of color.
Okay,
like one object is colored.
That certainly rings a bell.
Yeah.
Are we the best podcast hosts? Yeah, I think you're right about that.
We're just podcast hosts.
People at
That's
home
what they fucking do.
Being like, "That's not, you're thinking of the Wizard of Oz," like, fucking Jesus, fucking God.
Why did you mention anything? Call it an example then, okay? For the sake of an example, there's a scene in the Schindler's List where there's a girl holding a red balloon amidst all the black and white. Okay,
and it's poignant and it's there on purpose.
I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying as an example. And then someone saw the color red, and then they were like, "It made me feel this feeling." And then it's like someone from CinemaSins goes, "You're a dumb, stupid idiot. That's not what it means at all.
Ding.
I spent all this time like learning it, and this is what it means. You moron! How dare you?" Never watch another movie again. Matter of fact, why don't you kill yourself?
I think Sam, a part of that might be a little
my
bit
anxiety,
of you, little bit of you in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it totally is. Yeah, that's my biggest fear is being told to kill myself.
Nice.
It's also just the meanest thing you could say to somebody. But yeah, I definitely think that there is something to be said about like understanding what the artist meant, and it doesn't have to be what you take the art to mean. If you think that Schindler's List is, well, maybe Schindler's List is a bad example because it's very clearly about something.
It might be.
If you think Schindler's List is about familial ties, you may be wrong.
Yeah.
But kind of. So if you think that, a piece of art means one thing, but the artist says, no, it actually means this, you're both right. And that's the best part about art.
And thanks for listening to the Chill Spot podcast. That's all we have to talk about today.
Yeah, ideally no one would come up to you and be like, "You're wrong. It means this. You're a bad artist or art consumer or whatever."
Well, with that being said, then let's elaborate on that. Like, I'm kind of reforming our first question a little bit here. Like, do you think that what the creator has put into a piece of art, like the themes and the things you derive your lessons from, is it important to recognize those things specifically, or is it important to maybe find your own conclusion and learn your own lessons?
I mean, I think it's important to like identify them specifically, because certainly everybody puts art out into the world for a reason.
Right.
You know, like, for example, you could take a movie like Superbad. That movie means a lot to some people.
Of course it does.
Some white male people, but that movie means a lot to some people, and what you gleaned from a coming-of-age tale like Superbad may mean something different to you than what it means to the director and the writer and, you know, the stars of the movie. It may mean something different because those people had the privilege of spending months and months and months sitting with this text and, like, bringing it to life and, like, really pulling it apart and getting into it and under its skin. Whereas you watched it for 90 minutes or whatever
Far
in the
more
theater and
passive
just like
than they're quite literally have their hands, feet, blood and soul.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like I do think it's worth it if you care about a piece a lot. Say you care about Superbad a lot. It really resonated with you when you first saw it. It might be worth it to do a little bit of legwork and figure out what it meant to the people who made it. Just saying. Just as a person who likes to fall down the occasional YouTube hole, likes to watch a Hollywood Reporter roundtable or two, might be worth it.
Okay, let me ask you this then. What's more important? Identifying the specific themes that have been written into a story or having your own personal feeling and reaction to something? Because there's no right or wrong way to watch something.
Fair.
And as much as an artist, I'm saying this as an artist, like, you know, you put a lot of thought and effort and care and detail into your work in order to invoke certain themes. A lot of artists do that. And when it gets misinterpreted, I can see how that might be frustrating.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, now that this is out there, it doesn't belong to me anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not allowed to get mad about how people react to my thing.
Yeah.
Because what's the point?
Yeah.
I think that's how a lot of people identify snobs, to be perfectly honest with you.
Right.
So, you know, so I think it's important to think of themes. I think it's important to be analytical when you watch and consume something.
Always be critical.
But I
ABC.
don't think it's important to identify. I don't think it's important to be on the same page as the director. No. You know, like, I don't really necessarily see the value in that. Specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, kind of what you said. I do think it's important to, to think about what the director of a movie or writer of a song or painter of a painting is trying to say with their art. Excuse me.
You good, dude?
I didn't fully finish burping because I just wanted to not burp on mic because I think it's disgusting.
And now we're burping all the time.
Now we're burping twice.
Yeah,
so
pledge yourself.
Lesson learned. But yeah, no, like, I think that it is worth it to try and figure out what someone is trying to say with their art, but like keep in touch with how you're feeling and then feel okay with walking away from the piece and saying like, well, they may have meant this, but I got this from the movie, the song, the painting,
the work. We'll call it the work. What I think you put it in the right way just now. I think there's a lot of people out there who misconstrue critical discourse into thinking like rights or wrongs, black or whites, A's
winning
or
and
B's.
losing.
Winning and losing is another big one. Where like you're allowed to be like, okay, so I think the director was going for this theme in this scene and I got that.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, this scene invokes this kind of feeling and giving me the inclination that it's invoking this kind of theme, and that's how I feel. It's my personal opinion. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And like maybe if I was talking with the director, he might be like, oh, no, I was actually thinking of the theme of sadness here. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I found that scene to be uplifting, though. Yeah. You know, and it's like, who cares? Yes. Yeah. That's okay. Yeah. Like, you know? Yeah. I think, like...
You found that to be uplifting, you sick fuck? How fucking dare you? That's disgusting. What is wrong with you? You gotta get your head checked out, mate, if you thought that scene was uplifting when I specifically wrote it out to be sad. You're a bad person. You should go to jail.
Talking on the internet. Boy, is it hard.
So scary, dog.
Yeah. I mean, that's really what it feels like sometimes to put shit out there.
Honestly, yeah. For real. And it's a big fear of mine because I don't like being spoken to meanly ever. Yeah. And if you yell at me, I will cry a lot. So don't do it.
Please don't.
Never tell me I'm wrong.
Well, okay. It's funny, right? The divide of like, I don't want to get into fights, and I don't like when
I would
people...
like to be spoken to with respect, please.
With respect, please, but I also think that I'm always right.
Yep. And if you go against what I say, you're disrespecting me, you're toxic, you're bad. That's a different topic for a different podcast, but...
It's like, who's the toxic one?
Yeah, honestly.
Okay, well, with that being said, if we all could agree that whether or not you enjoy watching a film or a movie or listen to a song, and, you know, there's people out there who like to turn their brain off and not think about it, which is valid, like, whatever. If that's how you do these things, I'm not going to tell you to not do it. In my personal opinion, and Sam's personal opinion, it's important that you critically analyze something. With that being said, what is a piece of art that you enjoy that is frequently misunderstood and taken the wrong way? I know a big one.
Okay, what's the big one for you?
Fight Club.
Boys thinking they're Tyler Durden.
Yeah, so first of all, for those who may not know,
little baby boys,
Fight Club is a criticism of toxic masculinity. And it's all, you know, so many people take like, oh, it's like a movie about guys fighting each other. And it's like, well, I mean, they destroy corporate America at the end of it. You know, like, I think there's like a little bit more than dudes fighting each other in the basement.
There's just like, this is why sometimes I like say the controversial thing of like, there should be no more violence in movies, or there should be no more explosions in movies, because it's too distracting. Or no more nudity in movies because it's too distracting. We as human beings, our little bird brains can't look past big thing go boom.
This is true.
To like learn.
This is true.
I don't think it should actually happen. I'm not out here like with Tipper Gore being like, end violence in movies. It's making our kids stupid. I don't think that. But sometimes when I see this discourse, when I see a guy who loves Fight Club or Joker or Memento or The Matrix or pick a movie.
The line
Pulp Fiction
goes on.
Pick a movie.
Right.
Scarface, The Godfather, Goodfellas. Pick a movie.
There's someone out there misinterpreting it.
There's someone out there misinterpreting it, and like it's only when I'm at my most frustrated where I go, just take violence away from audiences. We can't handle it. Our stupid little brains can't handle it. And even if you are trying to say something meaningful with this method, we're not gonna get it because we suck.
Well, you know what it is.
At my most cynical, I think.
I agree that I agree that's a little cynical, but I also think that you're right. So the thing is, like, things. So first of all, I want to say that Fight Club is a good movie, and I'm tired of people pretending that it's not. B, the thing is, when you do a criticism of something, you have to showcase it, right? Tyler Durden has to be a hyper masculine, toxic man in order to criticize it.
Yes.
You know, like I saw this discourse on Twitter a couple days ago of people being like, I'm tired of all these fucking SJW, but you know, the usual crap.
Yeah.
And someone pointed out like you know, I wish what shows used to be about real men, you know, like Breaking Bad. And it's like, okay, well, first of all,
again,
Walter White,
there's another thing that you can inject.
Toxic, cowardly, murderer, criminal, and he's not supposed to be idolized.
You're not. Oh my God, you're not supposed to be like, I have cancer, better make meth.
Yeah, you know, he was providing for his family. He was destroying his family.
It's a large jump that he makes. And while it's, you know, in the beginning, I would say in season 1, you sympathize with what he's trying to do.
A little.
Because it feels like a commentary on the American healthcare system and capitalism as a whole in America, and how it drives people to do seedy things that they shouldn't have to do. You know, you take this starkly middle-class white man is driven to crime because, you know, something that is out of his control, like cancer, happens to him, and he's forced to do this thing to provide for his family in his wake.
It's more about his ego, but
I would say season 1. I'm talking about season 1. Yeah. In season 1, when you're watching Breaking Bad, you're like, oh man, like, this totally sucks. But I can't say that I blame this guy. The American healthcare system is a mess. Yeah. You know, like, so many people feel like they need to do stuff like this to be able to afford care. But then you're right. As it goes on, you're not supposed to, he could stop, you know?
He should have stopped.
And he should have stopped.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
His
ego got inflated, and he fell in love with it, with the money, and it got to be too much, and then Breaking Bad happened.
I would love to do a full-on in-depth, because you haven't finished Breaking Bad, so I don't want to
finish anything.
Dive into that.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, man. I don't understand how people fail to realize that in order to critique something, it has to be showcased. Like, you can't say, oh, this is a critique of toxic masculinity, and without the character being toxic and masculine.
Actually, Trixie and Katya just talked about this on, I think, like the most recent episode of Bald and the Beautiful, which I'm obsessed with, by the way. Yes, I love drag queens. Nothing new here. But Trixie has been watching Reno 911.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's never seen it before, so she's just like watching it for the first time, and she was like, it's hilarious. But everybody there is bad. They're racist, they're misogynistic, they're homophobic, they're full of themselves, they're power tripping, crazy people. And that's what makes it so funny, and that is what makes it a criticism.
Well, yeah.
It wouldn't be a fun criticism of the police if they were good at their jobs. So you're going to have to watch people be good at... You're going to have to watch, like, a portrayal of a bad person for a little bit.
Fucking Always Sunny is like that. Curb Your Enthusiasm is like that.
Yes.
Seinfeld is like that. You know, like, I'm glad to hear that you've sort of, like, changed your tune on this. Because there was a time...
No, there was definitely a time where I was trying to watch the most PC media of all time.
Right.
And I still think to a certain extent that we're going down an SJW hole here really quickly. We'll dig ourselves back out after this. I'll make it quick. But voting with your dollar is a thing, you know?
Okay.
Like going to see movies or, you know, watching TV shows that gain money by being watched is a thing. And if you know that a particular piece of media is problematic and hurtful to a certain group of people, I try not to watch it because I don't want to give it attention, and I don't want people to see money for doing bad things. Essentially,
right, yeah.
Essentially, however, watching somebody do something bad for like as satire, as parody, for comedy is very different than, you know, somebody doing something bad on purpose and you watching it in real time.
Well, yeah, because I think the creators of a lot of these shows, like these comedies and other things that portray shitty people, are going, look at the dumbass, laugh at him.
Exactly.
You're not supposed to relate to it.
Exactly. And like that was my thing. Like it honestly happened like in the middle of me watching Curb Your Enthusiasm, because I found Curb Your Enthusiasm to be so funny. But as the seasons went on and Larry's wife was still with him, I was like, Girl.
You're so much younger and hotter than Larry
This
David,
is so
dude.
stupid. It is so stupid that Larry still has friends, that Larry is still married, that he is not a social pariah the minute he walks out the door. It's ridiculous. And then I was like, oh, wait a second. Larry David is not telling me to be more like Larry David.
No.
Reno 911 is not telling you to be like a cop like that. It's they're trying to make the cops look bad.
Right.
However, when, say, a comedian has a Netflix special and they're literally standing in front of a crowd and they're kind of espousing their opinions. Like, I'm not saying that comedians stand by everything that they say, because they're comedians. At the end of the day, they're trying to just formulate a good joke, which is hard enough as it is.
I still firmly believe that comedians exist to tell jokes. I think a lot of people, I'm gonna let you finish, but a lot of people, I think, like to go to comedians as these, like, bastions of free speech in a lot of ways that they are. Like, a comedian will get up and say whatever they want.
You're standing on a stage with a microphone and the captivation of hundreds of people. There's a power in that.
Of course there is.
Yeah.
But you as a human being have some responsibility as well.
Yes.
And that's kind of how I feel about it, right?
Exactly.
It's like, we used to have extensive conversations, especially when you first got into Curb, because I think, like, if I could be so bold, you were really struggling with the idea that Larry David wasn't getting any kind of repercussions for his behavior.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is that, like, this show is A, fiction, and B, like, Larry David is not a role model.
Yes.
You know? And, like, I think your argument at the time was something along the lines of, like, well, people are going to watch it and then see themselves in it and they're going to relate to it.
Yeah.
Then I say to you, well, those people are cave people.
Yeah.
And you can't pander to the morons of the world.
Yeah. And my whole, it was a very long struggle to basically just come to terms with the fact that you can't be responsible for everybody.
You're also not a Neanderthal. And you're allowed to consume media like this because like, that thing that Larry did was pretty funny. I think I'm going to do it to my friends and family.
Well, see, I always knew that I was capable of watching media with bad behaviors portrayed in them and then not taking it and acting it out in my real life. I knew that I was capable of that. Yeah. Me, Sam, I knew. I didn't trust everybody else though. And, with, the last 4 years with a certain president being in power and certain people feeling more emboldened because they see themselves in such a leader, it kind of made me look at all of the media that I consume and say, well, we should all be doing our best to represent our best selves because humans are incapable of not being parrots and, either consciously or subconsciously ultimately wind up reenacting the behavior that they see in media all the time.
Yeah.
So shame on you for not being the best person on television at all time if you have access to the platform that is television and radio and music and whatever, because you should be trying to do the best for humanity that we possibly can. And that's just not feasible.
Oh, that's because that's a completely ridiculous thing to expect from people.
It's so impossible.
And also, not for anything, like, I would go as far to say that people who are watching shows like Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is an intelligent show, aren't the people who, like, going to Trump rallies and shit.
I mean, like, listen, man, people be peopling. There are lots of different kinds of people.
They're watching Fox News and Last Man Standing. You ever heard of Last Man Standing?
Of course, the Tim Allen show.
Yeah, where he's the last man. He's the last man alive. Oh.
He's not the last man standing. He's the only man in a family of women.
Yeah.
He's just got daughters.
No, but it's
about a man who has daughters.
Well, his whole thing is that, like, the whole joke is that he's, like, the last true conservative. That's like the...
I thought it was about how he was just outnumbered by, like, women's opinions in every situation because he had a wife and, like, 3 daughters or whatever.
I mean, I'm sure that's a part of it.
Because there are other men in that show. He's not literally the only man on that show.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. He is quite literally, like...
Yeah.
He sees other men who, like, who conscribe to this, like, leftist PC culture as, like, not real men.
Right.
So he's, like, the last man.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know.
He's not literally the last man on
No,
Earth.
I just thought that he was, like, the only man in most situations in the show.
Right.
And like it was centered on him and it was very much told through the eyes of Tim Allen's character.
And it is very much that because it's such a stark conservative outlook.
It's Tim Allen's manifesto.
Yeah.
He's been holding us captive
the
for
manifesto.
The manifesto, yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Pretty much, yeah. But yeah, so I do think it's important that you get your art, but you don't have to you don't gotta
write a fucking essay about it.
No, you don't have to do a whole dissertation. A modicum of thought.
A modicum of thought, yeah. Well,
and like honestly, like that's my problem with people who love Friends so much.
Oh yeah?
Is that it's like, oh, it's the perfect show. It's like, I need you to say, I need you to say that it's not. I need you to just say that you like Friends, which is allowed. It's not the perfect show.
And listen, Sam, I'm gonna concur. I'm gonna meet you halfway here for a second. I am not one of those people who like starkly dislikes Friends. Mm-hmm. I've watched episodes of Friends and I think, oh, that was funny or that was entertaining. Like it's passing in my opinion. And I think I'm the ideal person to have this conversation with because I also think that I've seen some shit on Friends where I was like, oh wow.
Yeah,
like this is
that's not okay.
You guys really have a problem with gay people.
Yeah.
like what is that all about?
Like, what is your problem with gay people?
Yeah, and like, but you know what? I feel as though kind of ties into our initial conversation. I feel as though if you acknowledge that and you yourself don't internalize it and you're being external about the fact that you're acknowledging it, then we'll enjoy the show. Who cares?
Then enjoy the show.
Whatever.
Yep.
There's so much other show. There's so much of this show.
Yeah.
And the homophobia is honestly a very small part of it. So just
when it's there, it's bad.
And acknowledge it.
But it's not like every single episode they're like saying the F slur and like Chandler has a problem with something gay. It's just like,
Joey doesn't come in like, hey, what do you think of these shoes I bought? And they're a little fishy and Chandler is like, oh!
Yeah.
Ew! Which is basically what it's like.
Yeah, exactly.
You never answered the thing. What's a piece of your media? What's an example of media, in your opinion, that gets misconstrued constantly and like is often touted as like an example of the opposite of what it means? I actually have another one, but you go first.
I'm going to use this example, but it's a part of a larger problem. I'm going to say Clueless, the movie with Alicia Silverstone.
I've never seen it. Misunderstood
by folks who don't like it. Clueless, the plot of Clueless is very hard because there's a lot going on.
Isn't that a TV show now too?
It became a TV show after the movie did really, really well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Alicia Silverstone is in that as well?
No.
Oh, okay.
Some of the original cast members were in the show, but I don't believe Alicia Silverstone came back for Cher.
Right.
But a lot of people who dislike Clueless, you know, they think that there's no point. They think that it's creepy that she hooks up with her ex-stepbrother at the end, which is like...
That's a little weird. Well, hang on. Her ex-stepbrother.
Yeah.
What degree of separation is that?
So...
It's her ex-husband.
Her ex-stepmother's son.
So
in the movie, Cher's mom is dead.
Okay.
So at one point, her father remarried.
Right.
And the person that he remarried had a son, Paul Rudd's character.
And then
those two people got divorced. But then because Cher's father had like become a part of this guy's life for a couple of years, he felt it was necessary to still like be a father figure to him. So Paul Rudd is always like hanging around Cher's house. And then they fall in love.
Okay.
So it's like, yeah, it's not super kosher. But
I mean,
like,
that's not the worst, though. They're not related.
They're not related
by
at
blood.
all. And they're not tied legally to each other either anymore.
No.
Because their parents are divorced.
The very thin legal relation that they did have was severed. If they didn't know each other, they'd be strangers.
You know?
So fuck your stepbrothers.
Yeah.
You heard it here at Chill
Fuck
Spot.
your ex-stepbrothers. Your ex-stepbrothers.
Hey, listen, if there's a category on Pornhub for it, like...
I would say that like Clueless is an example of something that girls like that gets poo-pooed.
Sure.
I think it's a prime example of that, where a lot of girls liked Clueless.
Okay.
So it got shot down as like a bad movie.
Because it's girly. Quote unquote, it's girly.
But you know, there's some really cool lessons about like friendship, about accepting people for where they're at, about broadening your horizons that are really, really good in that movie.
Right.
And for what it's worth, it is a beautiful time machine back into 1990s and being a teenager. I mean, at least a rich one. But, the language, like the slang, the technology, the clothes, the music. It's a beautiful time capsule of everything 90s. And I think that we're lucky to have a piece of art, such as Clueless, that, you know, sums up what it was like to live in this time.
Sure.
In a certain place. It's like, honestly, like I will go so far as to say that it is the American Graffiti of the 90s.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go.
That's something else.
Yeah, because it's very of its time. And the plot is a little shaky, but it's still good. It's still a very good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, I like the direction you took with that question, because the way I interpreted that question was like, what is something that people just flat out take wrong?
Yeah.
Right? Like, well, what?
No, I loved your example of Fight Club.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful example. And if you didn't say Fight Club, I was going to say Joker too.
That's another good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, another one that comes to mind is The Punisher.
Yes.
Oh my god, my favorite thing in the world. My favorite thing in the world is to go on Twitter and see like,
oh my god,
you know, cop bootlickers fucking toting the Punisher symbol. It's like, you know, the Punisher killed cops, right?
Like thin blue line Punisher symbols.
It's like,
where like one
fuck?
of the lines of the skull is a blue line.
Has any of you read a Punisher comic? Frank Castle would not be fucksing with you. Frank Castle would be front line at the George Floyd protest. Fucking, yeah. And you know what? When things went sour, he'd whip his piece out and start blasting.
You all are stupid.
You know,
you guys are dumb.
But that's my favorite thing, where it's like it really is stupidity, right?
Yeah.
It has to be,
yeah.
Because all they know is that Frank Castle is a guy with a big gun who shoots people, like me.
And
I'm a hero.
And he's muscly and he's white and he looks so badass.
Frank Castle and the Punisher comics are so anti-establishment, so anti-police brutality. They're so incredibly political. To think that people think that the Punisher is apolitical, it's like, what are you fucking talking about? Like, read the comics.
Please, I beg you, watch the show.
Yeah,
there's a Netflix show right there for you if you refuse to read so badly.
But I think to bring about what I was saying earlier, your example is interesting because it's less about people taking something wrong and it's more about people writing something off because they think it's one thing. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, because it's got girls in it, and it's fairly girly. Yeah.
And you know, that's just toxic masculinity.
I mean, like these things, you know, toxic masculinity, racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, blah 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 blah. It all feeds into your perception of whatever media is in front of you at the time.
Yeah, this is true.
So if you're a misogynist, you're going to think Clueless is mindless drivel.
You know what I feel like? Honest to God? Whenever we have discussions like this about, like, you know, more, like, analytical, discussion-heavy topics, I feel like we're, like, the mystery gang, you know? And we had, like, just solved the mystery.
Yeah.
And, like, a big goop monster's tied up.
And you, like, rip his head off.
And it's toxic masculinity, yeah.
Old man misogyny.
Yeah, it's like, I would have got you too if it wasn't for your kids and those fucking bitches. I was going to put this back on. Yeah, get him out of here, boys. Yeah.
Bush did 9/11.
All right.
Get him out of here.
The fuck was that last part?
No, yeah, that's hilarious. Another one that I just want to get this out because we joke about this all the time, and I want to, like, put it on a podcast forever to preserve it. We always make fun of, well, your classmates, because I didn't party in high school, but we always make fun of your classmates who saw Swimming Pools by Kendrick Lamar as a drinking song.
Yeah. And it is. I mean, like, it is that because I have and Kendrick doesn't have any, like I know him. Kendrick Lamar doesn't have any control over the context of that song.
Yeah.
So, like, people use it as a drinking song, so it is one now. That song is not about drinking at the club.
I mean, like, the repetition of the word drink in that song is to illustrate the mass amounts of alcohol that this boy is consuming because of the peer pressure of his environment.
Literally. Did anyone listen to the song?
So,
but I will say,
that's why drink is being said so much, not so that you can challenge yourself and turn it into a shot game.
To the credit of the artist, though, Kendrick Lamar is such a brilliant artist that he managed to make a critique about peer pressure and the fears of alcoholism, and also a dope song to play in the club.
Yeah.
Because he's brilliant. And, you know, that's intentional, too, right? Like, that's not inadvertent. I don't think that Kendrick Lamar, when he's writing Swimming Pools, he's like, people are really going to reflect on this one.
I mean, Kendrick Lamar is also just, like, a really fucking good artist, and he's working with some of the best producers in the game that are making the best beats for him. You're gonna get a good song.
Well, the appeal of Kendrick's music...
it's made by people who are good at what they do.
The appeal of Kendrick Lamar's music is very much how you can take something away, for the analytical minds, you can take something away from the themes that are present in all of his lyrics, but you can also listen to his music because it's so fucking well made.
And it has Rihanna on it, so...
Yeah, and who doesn't love that, you know? Kendrick
Yeah.
Lamar, and I've said this before, so I'll keep this brief, but Kendrick Lamar to me is one of those artists, those musical artists, who is like, it doesn't really matter what he puts out, because he's so fucking good at making music. You know, like this is kind of a weird comparison, but I think of like Christopher Nolan. Like Christopher Nolan's movies aren't perfect. He's not a perfect director, but fuck, is that guy good at making movies? You walk out of a movie like The Dark Knight, you're like, that was the best fucking movie I've ever seen.
Yeah,
everything about this movie was, but then you think about it, and, you know, obviously Dark Knight's not a good example because Dark Knight is a really good movie.
I was gonna say maybe pick like The Dark Knight Rises
or like Interstellar or Tenet. You know, where it's like I when I finished watching Tenet, I was like, there's a lot of problems with that movie, but oh my god.
Yeah.
Is it well put together?
Yeah.
Like, just literally so well put together.
Yeah, like organized well.
Yeah.
And beautifully
it's
shot.
It's filmed well, and the CGI is executed perfectly.
The vision is executed perfectly. Yeah.
That's the elevator statement of what I'm trying to get at.
He can execute a vision really clearly.
Kendrick's vision is so clear in all of his music, and I think that's what people tend to like. That's the surface level.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where people with a song like Swimming Pools. That's as far as they get.
That's why everybody bought the collector's edition of Damn, which is just Damn in reverse.
Hilarious. You're a genius, Mr. Lamar. Mr. Duckworth, you're a genius. You saw the same album again backwards.
Yeah.
You know you can do that yourself, right? You can organize.
You can set up a queue on Spotify and do the exact same thing for free.
Hit create playlist.
Yeah.
And then put the songs backwards. Brilliant.
There you go.
That being said, I mean, I'm a guppy. When it released on Spotify, I listened to it.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay, see, that's fine. I'm glad that he put it on Spotify because that means you didn't have to go out and buy it. People went out and like bought the collector's edition of Damn.
Which is like, come on, dude. But you know what though? Fuck it. The money's going back to Kendrick Lamar. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, I do think it's like a Diamond Shreddies level fucking con.
Yeah. That's a really good way of putting it.
Where you just get like fucking cheated. But as someone who's trying to turn art into money, like, I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, man.
You know? Like,
I mean,
it's just the way it is.
For what it's worth, if you give people the lazy way out, they will refuse to do the work. You know?
Yes, this is true.
Somebody out there definitely said, yeah, I could make a Spotify playlist of all of the Damn songs backwards, but I could also spend $15 and get it conveniently in order for me whenever I want it.
Ooh, look, a vinyl. Hey, I'm just as bad. I got the vinyl bug bad a couple of years ago when it first started coming around. So.
Oh, well, like, I mean, that's a different thing, I think.
Yeah.
You're allowed to like vinyl.
This is true.
I just think that, I have Damn on vinyl forwards.
As do I, actually. I also have it on vinyl.
I'm not going to go and buy it backwards.
Because why? I'm also like, you know what's funny?
You know, but some people did, and you don't need to do that.
A total sidebar, and we'll get back on topic, is like, I did listen to the special edition because I was like, you know what? I really wonder if it's going to change my listening experience because Damn was a very important album to me. I listened to it a lot when it came out.
Yeah.
And I listened to it backwards, and I was like, that sure was damn backwards. Like I just, for me, like I get where Kendrick was going for. His whole thing was that like
no, it's like a reverse poem.
It works backwards.
Yes.
Like if Kendrick Lamar was to release Damn backwards the first time, you wouldn't think something was off about it.
He would still win a Pulitzer for it.
Of course.
Yeah. You can't play College Dropout backwards and have it make sense.
No, that would be weird.
Yeah.
These skits don't make sense at all. But to
Why
get back
is Jay-Z opening the album? This is long. I don't like this. This is long.
Actually, speaking, I know we're a little scattered this episode today, but did you know that so Donda came out?
Okay.
Kanye West's newest album.
Yeah.
You know that's like fucking 26 songs or something?
Yep.
What the fuck?
I know. I got one better for you. You know that rapper that I showed you, IDK?
Yeah.
He came out with a new album. It's like 32 songs.
Oh, stop. Why? There's no way all 30 of those songs are good. There's no way. I'm sorry.
I listened to like the first quarter of it, and it was good.
I'm sure it is.
I was like, cool. I'm not gonna sit here for all of this though.
No, it's like a 2-hour album. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't have time for this.
It's ridiculous.
No, I love IDK.
Also, Kanye, going back to Donda, it's not the first time Kanye West has made an album with over 20 songs on it, right? Because both College Dropout and Late Registration, I believe, are like 21, 22 tracks long.
But when you cut out the interlude and the skits, it's like 15 songs.
Right. I mean, I don't know if Donda has interludes on it or skits or anything like that.
And knowing Kanye, they're probably just like,
That's the other thing, too, is that the art has progressed in a direction in which I do not personally enjoy. But, I mean, I can see why Kanye thought that, because he's like, well, shit, like, they bumped College Dropout, they bumped Late Registration. It's not exactly reinventing the wheel for Kanye West to make a 21-track album.
Right, yeah.
It's not out there. Well, 30 tracks, though? Over 30 tracks? You gotta be kidding me.
Got a lot of nerve.
Yeah.
Got a lot of nerve.
IDK stands for I Don't Kid. Sit down and listen to this 34-track album.
Stop, please.
Please stop.
All right, it's getting a little long here, so let's wrap this up with what are some of what's something that you used to really enjoy that you didn't quite maybe fully grasp the themes of, and then now as you grow older, a bit more as an adult, a bit more secure in yourself, that you have grasped them and you don't like it anymore. I have an example.
Okay, give me your example first.
My example is, you ever heard the Action Bronson song Baby Blue with Chance the Rapper?
I have not, no.
Why you always all on my back?
Oh, you've played that song for me a couple of times, yeah.
Baby girl, I'm blue. So that is a good song. But when you listen to it, you're like, man, what the fuck does Action Bronson have against his ex-girlfriends? Oh my God.
It's one of those.
Well, you know what it is? Like, he doesn't explicitly go out of this. He's not like, you're a bitch and I hate you, like, I'm from New York, fuck, I hate women so goddamn much, like, it's not like that.
Yeah.
But it is very, finger pointy in a way that has since changed.
Why you always on my back?
Well, because you know what I realized?
Stabbing a
the part that got me, as much as I like the melodies and the beats and everything, is the part that got me was like, this is so one-sided. This is all assuming that Action Bronson's girlfriends are assholes.
Yeah.
Which they probably aren't.
Probably not. Probably not. Is your ex-girlfriend crazy? And like, listen, don't think she is.
What I'm about to say might seem a little outlandish, but now that we're in like a post-Me Too world, and a lot of the politics surrounding the way that like men, cis men specifically, are allowed and should speak about women, like a lot of misogyny got revealed.
Yeah.
In the Me Too movement, right? And a song like Baby Blue, which isn't about sexual assault. Like, I bring up the Me Too movement as a movement, not specifically of the context of the movement.
Yeah.
I suppose. So, when a rapper, a white male, cis male rapper makes a song about how all of his ex-girlfriends are assholes and used them for his money, and like, it's all her fault and it's all her problems, and it's like, it's what she did to me. It just doesn't read well anymore.
Yeah.
You know, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah?
No, it totally makes sense. And I have a hard time with this. Whenever my guy friends break up with a girl, I have a very hard time being sympathetic towards him. Even every time.
Right.
Regardless of what went on. I was like, I always have to really ask myself and like really, really work hard. Harder than I would if I were talking to a girl. Or someone who is just not a man about a breakup. I have to think really hard and be like, okay, is what he's saying so outlandish that he has a right to be hurt? Or is this some fuckboy misogynistic shit where men are accustomed to being treated a certain way, and then they didn't receive that treatment from their girlfriend because she's a human being with autonomy, and they're not appreciative of that, and so the relationship dissolved.
Yeah, exactly.
I always really have to ask myself. So whenever men release tracks about ex-girlfriends, I'm always like not 100% on their side.
Well, because it's hard to be. Especially in 2021 in the current socio-political climate.
Half the time, if a girl breaks up with a guy, it's because you fucked up. And if a guy breaks up with a girl because he didn't like her anymore, I am naturally inclined to think that it was for a superficial reason of some kind, and I'm not likely to trust his narrative as much.
True. Yeah, you ever have the moment where it's like your boy, their girlfriend breaks up with them, and they're telling you what's going on, and you're kind of like, good for her.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Like the last 3 times one of your boys have been broken up with, I'm like,
good for her.
Calling her part.
Obviously we're just having a gaff, but it's true. Not so much with my specific close group of friends, but I've definitely heard stories before.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, you kind of blew that one.
That was your fault.
You're not gonna lie.
This is a you problem.
But
for sure.
What is an example of a piece of art, piece of media, that has changed now that you sort of understand the themes of it a little bit more?
The American dub of Sailor Moon.
Wow.
I've been
sponge on that.
I've been rewatching Sailor Moon because it's a bit of a roundabout story. Actually, I'm not going to tell the roundabout story then because we got to wrap this up. But I got into watching Sailor Moon again, and holy shit, is that show ever just conditioning young girls to be little ladies? It's like what Little Women was trying to do back in the day.
Wow, little Sailor Scouts.
Yeah, exactly. At least the American dub. I've never watched the Japanese version, so with the Japanese, words, like the sub. I've only watched the American dub. I've watched 2 American dubs. There's an American dub, but then there's a very American dub.
I'm very interested as to what your point is.
But shut up. Can I talk?
You have 10 minutes. You have to go.
Fuck off. That show. Man, I like it. I like it a lot. But some of the lessons, I watched an episode where Usagi was trying to lose weight, or thought that she had to lose weight.
Usagi, for those who don't know, is
Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon, yeah.
And I didn't like the way everybody was talking to her through that whole episode.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I was consuming this as a kid. This is as a kid, I was just like, yeah, Sailor Scouts. Everything's pretty.
Girl power.
Look, the girls win at the end of the day.
They beat the big scary monster with sparkles, not laser beams like the guy shows, which I think has a lot of merit.
I think that her moon tiara is one big laser beam, but
you get it though.
It does turn all of her enemies into ash at the end of every episode.
It does incinerate monsters, doesn't it?
I think it's a laser beam.
Could you fucking imagine being a monster in Sailor Moon and it's sparkle power, and they're like, oh, this will be good, and then it's just you're like, oh.
Yeah. Could you imagine the last words you ever hear are moon tiara action?
And then you fucking die.
What a bitch. What a bitch.
I fucking love
that. That sucks.
No, but definitely because Sailor Moon is very old. I think Sailor Moon came around in the 70s.
What?
I can come around.
The first ever Sailor Moon?
Well, the manga anyway.
The manga, okay, but the cartoon is very 90s.
Sailor Moon, yeah, Sailor Moon. I'm just gonna Google it. I don't know if you guys have noticed our increased picture quality, but we're not filming with my phone anymore.
Yeah, we got a DSLR.
I stand fully corrected. It was serialized in the 90s, from 91 to 97.
Okay.
I'm just an ignorant slut.
But still, like, misogyny was rampant in the 90s.
Rife. Even in a show like Sailor Moon, which is written by a woman for women. That's why my brain did that.
You sound like
written for a women.
You sound like somebody on my Facebook profile who can't spell.
Yeah, exactly.
Justice for all women.
I want that on a T-shirt.
As a woman, I personally feel.
That's so real.
One of my
That's why it's funny.
biggest grammatical pet peeves. But I totally believe that it was written by a woman because women are one of the worst perpetuators of misogyny.
Internalized misogyny. Ain't it a bitch?
Yeah, it's a real bitch. So it doesn't surprise me at all. But just the misogyny and the I fucking hate Usagi's whining. I'm officially my parents. Well, because so I used to love Sailor Moon as a kid, but every time I would watch it, my parents would go, "She's so whiny. Are you watching the whiny girl show again? Samantha, this is so annoying. I can't stand this. I can't listen to this. She's so whiny."
Fucking Caillou, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they would vocalize that to me instead of letting me enjoy my thing. So, I now get to watch it as an adult, but now I am an adult and I can't stand whiny noises. So whenever Usagi is like, "Oh, I don't want to do this. I'm so scared. I just don't want to," I'm like, please, I need you to stand up and be a Sailor Scout once.
Well, see, here is the interesting thing, right? No, finish your thought. I didn't mean to interrupt. Finish your thought.
Well, no, it's just like that's the thing that's sort of like, I'm still enjoying Sailor Moon, but it's just in a very different way. I pretty much just enjoy the aesthetic at this point.
The art is beautiful.
Honestly, even like the characters. Like, I don't super love the way Rei, Sailor Mars, is written.
Well, she's pretty brash.
But like, not in a cool way. She like bullies Serena.
Yeah.
Blake bullies her.
Yeah.
It's like really mean. Like in the super Americanized version that I watched where Usagi is Serena and they give everybody Bronx accents even though they are clearly in Tokyo.
We could talk a whole episode about that. Let me tell you.
Rei is a little bit more like, can't you just you are the Sailor Scout. We're doing the same job, okay? I need you to work with me here. Like, work with me a little bit.
Yeah.
But in the original American dub, it's just like, you suck. This is so annoying. I hate that I'm saddled with you. This is the worst thing in the world. Sailor Mercury, don't you agree? And Sailor Mercury is just like, like looking back and forth is like, I'm trying to be peacemaker, but she sucks at it. And I'm just like, I don't like any of this.
Right, yeah.
I don't like any of this.
Well, you know what it is? What episode are you on?
I just finished, I think, the episode where not Jadeite. Jadeite is gone now.
Like number. What number are you on?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
I think 15 or 16, something like that.
So like you're in like double digits, but you're still relatively early on.
Yeah.
So like I think the interesting part, I'm gonna round what you just said back to Fight Club of all things. Usagi is a weak-spined person.
Yeah.
She's complainy.
Yeah.
And isn't very good at what she does, and she's lazy, and she's annoying. Like she's all of these things, but she's also Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
So like it's all about how she exists despite these horrible qualities.
I'm trying to see it as that. But when you need so much prodding.
It's tough.
When you need so much prodding to do what you do.
And when Sailor Moon is a Monster of the Week show, which is just like, it's not really a show that's about narrative growth all the time.
No.
Not until much later.
Early on in the show, she solves every problem with Moon Tiara action.
Mm-hmm.
You know she's going to use Moon Tiara action to beat the monster.
Naturally.
So I'm like, why is it taking you so long? You know you're going to win as soon as you use Moon Tiara action. So I don't know why Luna and Rei have to haul your ass to wherever it is you gotta go to beat whatever monster of the week you're fighting when it's the same thing every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Like...
Damn it, Usagi.
I feel like 15, 16 episodes in, I understand it serialized and I understand, like, episodic stories.
No, I get... Yeah, I know, yeah.
But I just feel like at some point you have to learn.
Yeah, exactly.
At some point,
Well, you know what? I agree.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to think about the things that you consume. Yeah. Much like the Chill Spots podcast, where... You can listen to us every week, Tuesday at 3 p.m. We upload onto Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and YouTube every Tuesday at 3 p.m. You could subscribe if you're following us or watching this on YouTube. Please subscribe and maybe like the video, drop a comment. What are some things that you grew up with that are now different to you after you've given them some more analytical thought? You know, I'm curious as to that. If you listen to us on a streaming service that has reviews, drop a review. They're a huge, huge help. And if you like us so dang much, you can follow us over at twitch.tv/chillspot, where we do streams 3 days a week, 2 evenings and 1 morning, and we play cool games and talk to people. Come chat with us. It's awesome. My name is Cameron, and I'm on Cameron Draws on Twitter and Instagram.
My name is Sam Planet on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me as well. I currently do not have any shows going up right now, but if you would like to hire me, I am very good and very nice.
We are both available for work.
I will write you a nice thank you card at the end of every project.
Think about it. Okay, guys. Thanks for watching the Chill Spot podcast or listening, whatever the fuck you're doing, and we'll see you guys next week.
Mwah!
Bye!